Just so everyone is aware, Chambers is unmuted.
Because they're
What, you got a haircut?
I'm gonna miss it. Could sit here and not give a crap. Yeah, yeah.
A little money.
I don't hear what's happening.
You know what I mean?
We know.
They got 8 or 9 of them.
Hello, just so everyone knows, Chambers is unmuted and we are live on YouTube.
Thanks, Matt. Amanda.
He usually gets him and Mike Reed.
He's gonna be in the. Everybody, we're live, so be careful what you're saying.
The answer is you can just tell.
Hans, whenever you want to start, buddy. I know it. We got that.
Yep.
They think they got it now.
So many questions.
County now.
I'm going great.
At the,
Asked 3 or 4 times.
Perhaps.
How you doing?
All right, thanks. Stupid as fuck.
Okay, the meeting please come to order. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Minutes to approve. Like a motion.
Move it, Basile.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Been moved to approve the minutes. Any corrections or other comments? If not, all those in favor of the minutes, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Mr. Dempsey is next. Favor?
Someone has my report. If anybody has any questions?
Business for David? None?
I highlighted, met with real property county attorneys regarding Auburn Petroleum property in Aurelius. I don't know what the significance of that is.
We had a long discussion. As a matter of fact, this morning we had another discussion. We took down the Working Man gas station down in the west end of town.
Okay,
That's what we're talking about.
okay,
Okay, and we were just communicating back and forth about plans for that going forward.
okay. And the continued administration of estates by the treasurer and the county attorney's office and other attorneys. What is the?
What is it? Part of my job is to handle estates if someone passes without wills and so on. And they name me as the executor of the estates.
Of the property.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And I've been working on a number of those.
Is that frequent?
Yes, too frequent. Yes,
Okay. All right, thank you.
sure.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Grace. Finance, please.
Good evening. You all have my report in front of you. Does anybody have any questions?
Sorry.
Of course you do.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm just teasing you.
The move over to the fixed asset, is that something we bought with initially
So-
that we were gonna invest in so that we could do a better job?
So we haven't, so currently the current fixed asset system we have is called WASP. It's really almost like a tagging system. It's not a real good fixed asset system. So I think it was budgeted a couple of years ago, right, Lynn? To possibly, or to purchase a new.
When Mary Beth was here.
Yes.
Set
So
our
we-
money aside for it.
Okay, so we rolled money over into this year's budget. Don't know as we'll get to it in 23, but we're really looking at trying to get the current system updated so that we have good information to put into the new system. Don't really want to start a new system off with bad information. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, so that's still in motion, but
Still in
I
motion.
did remember it from a few years ago.
Correct.
And then the issue around payroll and onboarding processes, is that about centralization? Is that what you refer to?
You know, we're hoping to possibly use some of that information for that as well, but it's looking at a number of things, you know, potentially onboarding for HR, new payroll processes, and centralization of the payroll.
Thank you. Jennifer, the next.
I'm not a member of the committee, but I wanted to ask Grace. I noticed that there's a comment that there's continuing support work with DSS. We had talked about, and you had talked about, you know, eventually being able to remove yourself from that sort of work. Where is the process now in terms of removal?
So they do have a new individual down, a new director of fiscal management. So I am working with her in transitioning work. So we're at a point where I'm really just holding on to some things that we'll be doing for year end that she wouldn't be ready to just take on right now. And just training and just kind of keeping up with some things as we transition it over to her.
So it looks like maybe by the new year.
That's what we're hoping, yeah. Yeah, and then it'll just be, you know, just support here and there if she's got questions.
Right. Thank you.
Yep.
Jennifer, please.
Have my report in front of you. I have 6 resolutions tonight, and I am requesting that one of them be amended. WM4, the village levies. I was contacted this afternoon by the village of Moravia, and they had an additional parcel that they wanted to add a levy to between NSF. So I provided Hans with the revised figures.
Okay, motion to amend. Number 4.
Move it, Mark.
Second.
Second.
Okay.
Could you do a motion to put it on the floor first and then discussion or a motion to amend? Move WM4. Thank you, Mr. Peters.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's open for discussion, I guess.
Now you want to amend it?
I'm sorry.
Now you want to
No.
amend that?
Motion.
Yes, I would like to amend it.
Motion to amend.
Move it, Basile.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Mark.
Yes, I second it.
Okay, so now we're voting on the amendment. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. No, go back to the motion. All those in favor of WM4
As amended.
as amended, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Thank you.
And I would just ask if anybody has any other questions for me.
Thank you. Diane?
Good evening. You have my report. I'll just ask if anyone has any questions.
I just have one. The last bullet, you are now posting open positions with Better Team. Is
Right.
that a new initiative?
So it's a more inclusive website where we put our posting on there, and from there, they send it out to multiple sites for us. So some of those would include like Indeed, LinkedIn, also ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, Monster. So we're putting it in one place and it's distributing it for us. So it's much more time effective for us. And it's also a lot less expensive than going out to all these sites individually.
And this is a contract or some arrangement you have with Better Team to take that
They
on?
do it with everyone. So you buy
Oh.
a year-long membership, so it's $1,200
Yep.
for the year, and we can post up to 20 positions a month on it.
Right. Okay,
Jim?
thank you.
How long do we post it for? How long do we post?
They go up for 30 days, and then we can renew them as often as we want.
Okay.
And you're seeing results.
Yes,
From
we're
there.
getting a lot more applications through that and a lot more people then applying on the county website. We have seen an increase in applications. for positions.
Heidi,
Diane, there had been a discussion a couple of meetings ago regarding our recruitment issues and the use of headhunters. Where are we at in that process?
So it varies depending on the position. So we did use a headhunter to fill Grace's previous position in DSS. We have a meeting set up currently now with an executive team out of Rochester that does legal positions. So Jen Marshall and I are going to speak to them on Friday to see what kind of prices they would have and if they will be able to help us recruit attorneys for DSS because we still have 2 openings.
Great.
That's not the CPS one we did for Grace's position?
Correct.
It's a
group.
different group.
Yep, they really focus on legal, attorneys in different areas.
And if they're successful, you come with an arrangement for us to contract with them, and then the terms of that contract we move forward with?
Correct.
Okay. But you're not gonna do it unless they find someone for us?
Right.
Thank you.
are there any questions? Thank you,
All
Diane.
right, thank you.
Thank you. And a grading, please.
You all have my report if anybody has any questions.
No questions? Go ahead, Chris.
I saw that you have an item about working on the broadband. Could you just give us a quick update on that?
So we've been working with Steve and Tom Bunn. I don't know if he's in here, but I basically have just been working with them on the procurement side of things. So it's a professional service. We're looking to consult to get money. Is that correct, Steve? We want to try to have somebody that can help us get funding and stuff. So for that side of things, we quote for it. And based on that quote, we do not have to go out to bid. It's under 75,000. So that's where I've been helping with them. As far as where we're at, I don't know if Steve wants to speak on that for the project.
I guess my only follow-up question would be, if there's not gonna be a bid process or an RFP process, are we soliciting multiple quotes for services? And how are those contractors being selected to be reached out to?
So for the consulting side of things, we have contacted ECC and the Regional Planning Board, and they've given us a quote for 35,000. And we have not contacted any other consulting firms. I believe there might be a chairman waiver because ECC has done a bunch of work already for the county on, and I could be wrong in all the details on this, but there's been reports that have been done on where we're lacking in broadband for the county, and I believe ECC was the one who did those. So they already have the internal workings of the county and things. So I think there was potentially going to be a chairman waiver to waive the other quotes to work with ECC.
I guess I'll follow up with the chairman after this meeting.
I don't think
Express
the
my-
waiver has happened yet, but just,
There are other firms that do that. We have one locally here that has worked with a lot of counties throughout the state, broadband. So it would be great to see them at least get an opportunity
to quote it.
look at their qualifications.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you want to also give me those, I can work with Steve and we can look to get quotes on those too. So, yeah, I know it's not something that's coming through this month, so.
Any further questions?
Thank you, Amanda.
One question.
Go ahead.
What's your concern? Your concern is that there's not multiple quotes.
And that we're not using a competitive process, to get the best deal for the taxpayers in terms of cost for providing technical assistance on broadband. That we're just going with ECC that did the gap analysis through Regional Planning Board. I wouldn't consider them a sole source vendor. So in terms of what the basis is for the waiver, I guess we'll take that, but that's my concern is there's procurement regulations in place for a reason, and it's to stimulate competition and get the best deal for the taxpayers.
Yeah, I totally understand. I mean, from a purchasing standpoint within the policy, so long as there's a chairman waiver executed for the quoting, we're within compliance of our own purchasing policy. As for if it's, you know, the most fiscally responsible decision for us, you know, I don't know if there's other firms out there that would quote differently, so. Yeah, you're welcome.
Any further questions? Comments? Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
I agree with the resolutions, so. Motion be, up to 5 or should be bundled, resolution to that effect.
Mr. Chair, I'll bundle WM 1, 2, 3, and 5, as we've already passed 4. I'd offer them at this time.
I'll second.
Okay, any further questions, comments? Otherwise, all those in favor of 1, 2, 3, and 5, aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So it's carried. 6 is after the budget. So I'm done. So Health and Human Services. Elaine?
Health and Human Services had 8 resolutions this month. They've passed through committee, and I don't know if anyone would like any of them separated, and if not, I would offer them up as a bundle.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Mark.
Any further questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor of the bundle, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Okay. We don't, the wrong one, okay. Thank you, Elaine. Government operations, Chris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Government Operations had 9 resolutions. I was not here, but it appears as though all 9 resolutions made it through committee. So I'll offer them as a bundle at this time.
Is there a second?
Second it, Mark.
Any discussion on any of the resolutions? If not, all those in favor of the bundle, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's carried. Thank you, Chris. Planning,
Mr. Chairman, planning has 1 resolution to accept a grant from the Fred L. Emerson Foundation for amphitheater venue design at Emerson Park, and I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move it.
Second, Basile.
any discussion? Comments? Otherwise, all those in favor? Planning 1, aye. Anyone opposed? No one opposed, so it's carried. Thank you, Bob. Public Works. Andy?
Yeah, Public Works, Mr. Chairman, had 7. They all were through committee without any failing, so I'll offer them as a bundle unless
Move it, Basile.
separated.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of them? If not, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. This is public safety, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Additional Public Safety has 10 resolutions tonight. JP 4, JP 5, and JP 6 was tabled at committee. I would offer JP 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10 as a bundle, as they were passed at committee.
Your motion?
Move it.
Second, Basile.
Okay, move.
Could I ask if 10 could be separated?
Yes, okay. We'll do everything except 10 then, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, the bundle. Okay, any questions on the bundle? If not, all those in favor of the bundle, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The bundle is carried.
JP 10. Go ahead, Elaine.
Move it.
Move for discussion, Basile.
Okay, I
Is there a
have,
second?
Second.
I guess I was not privy to some communications that were going on back and forth, and I think Riley was. But there has been, what I understand, some concern voiced by some of the towns or villages, and a concern about why the county is pursuing a certificate of need in terms of they're not pursuing it to operate have a municipal ambulance service. So I guess there was some questions as about why this CON is needed. And from our point of view, when we listened to Riley, it was about the ability to have countywide response and the ability of the various ambulances to be serving the full county and to be able to let other issues have surfaced. And I'm wondering, Aileen, if you could sort of talk about that before we.
If I have not, I'm just on this communications, and I think Dave, the chairman, has left it to Riley to work through. But I was contacted by the Association of Towns, as well as a former, I don't know, member of one of the ambulance services in this county. It was asking me the same question, different questions about this. They have some different ideas, I think, about how to solve this problem that we're facing, and so they would like the county to consider it. But again, I've asked Riley to be a point on this, so I'm not the point person on this. I've just been contacted.
Riley, care to
Yeah, were
talk
you,
to that at all?
were you in a communication about some concerns about the county pursuing the CON?
I have not received any communications with people concerned about it.
Oh.
There were several town supervisors that had a request to me for information related to their specific townships, as well as to a letter or some sort of petition requesting support of one agency in particular for blanket coverage of the county. To which point that agency, and I believe the township in question, had not contacted me directly. That agency specifically had not contacted me directly. So.
Is it true that generally when a municipality applies for a CON, it's because they have the interest in having a municipal ambulance service?
Generally, yes. However,
that isn't what we're doing.
But for municipalities and for the purpose of CONs, it can be to contract. There are a number of townships that have contracted for just that purpose, as well as a number of counties that have looked to contract with either existing agencies that already service them.
When we asked at the meeting, what is this a step for us to enter into contracts for reimbursable services? Your basic, I thought, was no. This is to allow
contracting for blanket coverage.
Just for coverage, not for reimbursement and not for.
That would all have to be negotiated and worked out, but at no point did I indicate that this was to start our own municipal ambulance. That is one faction of that. That is what CONs can be applied towards. However, the entire purpose of applying for it from the county was to blanket coverage through contractual basis as CONs allow.
And not financial contracting and stipending and the proposal that you brought forward.
That would all have to come as part of it. The initial step is to have the CON to allow any negotiations to occur, even if it was for $1 to cover mutual aid relationships throughout and allow people to go beyond their existing barriers as CONs truly are.
Without this municipal CON, they would be handcuffed into their own territory. Is that what you told us?
In much essence, yes.
And that they would, once they go out of their territory to do mutual aid, they would be handcuffed from billing.
In many ways, yes.
Okay, that's really what, I mean, that was my understanding, but I'm not, I thought, I'm sorry, Riley, I thought you were communicated with and, maybe.
I've had several asked questions. Again, I've tried to really utilize the local fire chiefs and ambulance directors already serving those territories as conduits for information. I don't always believe that information is shared directly on to the town supervisors. I know that the Town Supervisors Association had a meeting involving this and invited one entity to speak about this.
Mm-hmm.
I was informed the day after that meeting that had even occurred. And so I've been in contact with the chairman of the Village Mayors Association related to this, but the town supervisors, I've had a number of them reach out to me directly. Be it from Senate, be it.
And obviously, if there's concern, they would come to speak at the county ledge if they know this is.
Again, yes, and there hasn't been a direct point of communication. I received an email that was forwarded on today with some information, but again, it has not happened in the last 60 days.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could just clarify, so.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify that communication just did come like a short while ago.
There was just a very short clip,
And
yes.
when I had the discussion, I asked them to contact the chairman and as well as you.
Yes.
So just
I
Just so
have,
you know that.
I saw it in my inbox. I have
Okay.
not responded back
Just so
to
you're
it
aware,
yet.
but they have like lots of questions. And I couldn't answer.
Andy?
So basically, Riley, we need a CON in order to fill the CON that we are losing
Correct.
by AMR leaving.
Whether you have one entity or 13 sign on to it, you still need to have a CON established
So-
by the county to have involvement.
So now, in my opinion, what it sounds like is it becomes a pee and match because some aren't happy. And some want to take, jump to the front. You like that? I actually said it nicely. Pee and match.
Yeah, so I'm proud, Andy.
So, I mean, it just seems, basically what you're trying to, what this does is allow ambulances, it allows service to get to where it needs to get. And then billing to happen if it needs to happen. But it sounds to me like it's gonna turn into another one for you, a crap show.
Yeah.
Now with, some people wanting to be the lead and all this.
Ultimately,
I kind of thought this was coming when you gave your,
ultimately, it falls back upon the state policy, which is that the closest staffed and in-service rig at the appropriate certification level is supposed to be the entity that responds. When CONs stand in effect, people have the ability to contest it back and forth, which is the issue we run into where you have certain entities that are not certified to the highest level of care that are then contesting others who can provide that level.
yes, which what we're trying to do is get the care needed to the people that need it. That's what this CON is all about.
Correct.
It's not about, we're better than you, or we should cover more ground than you and all of this. It's,
I do not care what name is on the side of the ambulance. I care that
Exactly.
a member of the public.
neither should we as a county legislature. We just want people in our county to get the care that they should get.
Right.
So, yeah.
Jim?
All this come.
So I spoke with the ambulance supervisor for the village of Fairhaven about this county getting a CON. And if it would have any impact on the CON that the village of Fairhaven ambulance service has. And his response was it would absolutely have no effect on it. It would, the only thing that would start to, if down the road, the county wanted to try to run its own ambulance service and stuff, then there would be some debates back and forth of who's getting what territory and stuff. Right now, the county CON is just a stepping stone to figure out what the county's gonna do to fill gaps. It has zero impact. Speaking on behalf of District 1 and the ambulance service in District 1, the village of Fairhaven, the major ambulance service in the district, it has zero impact. They'll still operate the same. If they get a call to Cato or Conquest or whatever is backup, so forth, they're still going. It's not gonna change whether they cross a boundary line or not.
Okay, any further comments on JP 10?
Tons. Yeah, I just have a comment. I said it at the other meeting, public safety. This is gonna save lives. I said it there, right, Riley? This is gonna save lives, just like Andy was saying. People gotta let their egos go. It's not about egos and one fire department's better than the other. One ambulance service is better than the other. This is to cover the whole county. Somebody calls, they're gonna get an ambulance, it's gonna save lives. Bottom line. Thank you.
Any further comments? Anybody? Last call. Okay, all those in favor of JP 10, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Like, okay,
Aye.
motion is carried.
Hans, I have.
Okay, we're going back to JP 4, 5, and 6.
Yes. JP 6 is pulled. I would like to reintroduce JP 4 and JP 5 for consideration.
Okay,
Second, you're bundling them?
Yep.
Second.
so, discussion is open on JP 4.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I will assume that, and I would hope, anything ARPA has been discussed with you, and I mean, everybody knows. Obviously, you handed us something here
You're gonna give the report?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what those resolutions say anymore. I mean, you're just saying JP4, JP, whatever. I'm not sure what they say.
I
but
can't
If you
remember.
want me to
I can
go through
read.
this report, we can.
I got the paper copy.
I handed it out.
Well, I'm just, I mean, I hope everybody who's bringing forward any resolution with ARPA in it, we are passing something that we don't have any ARPA money left. That's all. So that's, I mean, did you check?
It's the fire investigation and the rescue vehicle, Lynn, not the SUVs. SUVs have been pulled.
We did
That one.
ask, or Dave spoke, whether it was at this meeting or at the lunch meeting, that we would meet with Lynn. You would ask her to give us a total so that we would be clear where we're at. And I think you are prepared to do that. Do you want her to do that?
She gave it to us.
Exactly. I could just go over a little bit of what it's kind of just saying. What I've put here is I put a list of all the things that we've committed the money to already with resolutions. So the beginning just has the totals we received, and we have the couple special categories. We have the public health, response to negative economic impacts, the water and sewer broadband, and then the whole next page is really the revenue loss. What I did look at on the top here, under public health response, a good example would be, we gave them $200,000. I'm proposing that we would move some of the money from a couple categories that really are not gonna get spent in time in 24. So you would see on there, it'd be public health, they can move $150,000, foster care payment incentives, for $90,000. Go down to the next category, you got the restaurant vouchers, $63,000 wasn't spent, and small business grants, $127,000. So we pretty much kind of know those are not gonna be respent. So go down a little farther, I have $430,000 that we could reallocate to the water and sewer projects that we already did approve, because we have to stay in those special categories with that money. So if we reallocate it, the bottom line, when you flip to the second page, is before reallocating it, down at the bottom, a little bit over to the right, you could say have originally remaining. Before reallocating, we have $1,096,000. If we reallocate that, we'll have 1.5 million. It's in our flexible group to spend. So that is what we have. And I've included all the resolutions that were passed through November. There's nothing else that would be included on these lists.
So my question for you then is like under the housing visions and
Yep.
youth program, when you show what the remaining budget is, does that what's remaining have to get spent by the end of 24, or is it just that we had to allocate it?
We'll have to have contracts in place by the end of 24, and then we can still keep spending it in 5 and 6.
Okay,
You've got to get the contract.
so next year for that, because obviously not a lot of it has been spent yet, so
Right,
obviously.
we just passed that, yeah,
So obviously next year they have to have the contracts.
right.
At that 1.5, when everything's moved over, like all the extra money just spoke about. So we really, if we didn't move that over, we'd have $1 million, and now we have $1.5 million when you move.
Right, and we really kind of have to, they're reallocating.
No, I
has to be spent
understand.
in those categories, so I think this kind of makes sense. This would be a good way to be
So-
like, then all the restricted money has been spent in the restricted group. And then we have the more flexibility then with the 1.5 million to kind of still spend it on any government purpose.
And what you told me that I didn't recognize until you said it is allocation means you have a contract in place or you have a purchase order. It's not just a resolution, but you have those. two
Right, that
things
has to be done by the end of
allocated.
24.
And then there's 2 years to spend it. And everything's got to be spent by 26. Pardon?
To disperse it, right? 2 years to disperse it.
To spend it.
Okay.
Right, for them to like, and spend it, yes, yeah.
Any further questions on JP 4 or 5? If not, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
2 opposed?
You're not on this committee.
Mike's not on this committee.
I'm not on the committee.
Right.
Okay.
So
Okay, you got me, Mike.
That's right, Mike.
6 you.
6 is full. 6 is, just for clarification, 6 is 2 new
Well, It's closed.
UTV or not UTV, SUV vehicles that would have replaced the two large trucks that staff currently uses. Eileen has decided that the resolution should.
So 4 and 5 are passed, so, Dave, legislator, could this be handled at this meeting or at the?
Yeah, it was pulled, I think, the last meeting for this meeting.
It was for Ways and Means.
That's one. Are you there, Lydia?
I'm here. One thing I'd like to mention is the year is incorrect on here. Again, we didn't, we obviously didn't fix all of the years, but it's for New York State 2022 general election, not 2020. And thank you all for the opportunity for me to bring this to the table. Data integrity is an issue, no matter where you go or what you do. I once worked for, some of you might know, Gould's Pumps. When ITT Corporation bought Gould's Pumps, we became an organization of 40,000 people. Every month, without fail, we asked about head count. I was in the Human Resources Department, so this touched me personally every month. How many people work for our organization? The variations in the numbers were amazing. You cannot grasp how many people work for an organization because there are so many different factors. Are people out on leave? Are people, for whatever reason, we're not counting their heads. We're counting people who are starting. Maybe we shouldn't be counting these people. So data integrity is important, and audit helps with that. Some of you are business owners. Some of you have been in business, and you understand that auditing the books, self-auditing is important so that you know. This isn't a partisan issue. This is a matter of data integrity. And when we have constituents asking us questions, I think that we should be able to answer them with a straight face. So I would ask for you all to please consider allowing an audit of our head count, audit of the voters, make sure that our data integrity is substantial. And I appreciate you all hearing me out and considering this seriously. Thank you. And we do have people from New York Audit here to answer any questions.
No, I think, we'll wait till discussion, so, is that motion, moving it?
I can't make a motion, I'm not on.
That's right. I'll move it, Basile. Second, please.
Very good.
Okay, discussion is open now, so. Anybody?
There's Heidi.
Go ahead, Heidi.
I wanted to present to the board that we received on November 29th an email that was forwarded to all of us from Sheila Smith from NISAC. We get these emails often. It's the NISAC newsletter. I always peruse it, look for articles that touch what might be happening here, what I may need to respond to or have information about. One of the articles in the NISAC edition of November 29th talked about false claims by the New York Citizens Audit. The article was provided by the New York State Board of Elections, and it provided for us an 8-page document that explains all from the State Board of Elections, all of the issues that came in the paperwork that was passed out by the New York Citizens Audit Group. And I can just quickly read them. I'm not going to read but they explain the duplicated voter IDs. This is from our State Board of Elections. It explains why there appears to be more voters than registered voters. It explains multiple registrations in a single year. It explains voter missing date of birth or having date of birth that seems implausible. For instance, I'll just read this one. Voters in New York were not required to give a date of birth prior to 1960. voters registered in person at the Board of Directors, at the Board of Elections office. They didn't have the ability to mail their registrations or register online. These voters would put their age, but not their date of birth. When electronic registration systems were introduced, some counties used placeholder dates for those dates of birth because they did not have them in the system. So this would be really for our elderly voters, for voters who are not
Hey, wait a minute.
required to provide this information prior to
460, we're
1960.
not
I'm
elderly.
finished with it.
Sorry.
This is prior to 1960.
Right. we're
So it
not
may not be elderly, I'm sorry to use that. Number 5, voters missing identification. 6, more voters than the current population size. And then another fact sheet on truth about voter registrations and the maintenance of those in New York State. I think it's important for all of you, hopefully you've read this, it came to all of you. You know, we're all board members who receive that state NISAC, you know, our information for our information source for counties across the state, and was provided specifically because they were concerned over the last 18 months about this, the New York Citizens Audit and presenting these claims throughout the state, and specifically created the fact sheet that refutes all of the claims from our State Board of Elections.
I thought identification didn't matter anyhow.
Okay.
Thank you, Heidi. I did read that, and the way that I read it was, it substantiated my request for an audit. Because of everything that you said, right? Because of the requirements that there weren't, and now there are, because of duplicates and everything like that. I just see that as another reason for a requirement for an audit, for the sake of data integrity. And I don't know if you want anybody from New York Audit to address any of those issues, but they are here, including their data person.
Right, so if we wanted to present one issue, for instance, how would this group respond to more votes than registered voters? This is one of the things that we'll talk about, because then when you present, I'll present what our Board of Elections is saying.
Permission to,
Study was done, analysis was done before I joined the research team. But I did take a peek at how they did their analysis, and it was not based on looking at the voter rolls. It was based on looking at several New York State official websites, including the Board of Elections, and I believe the Secretary of State, and perhaps others. And what they did was, when they looked at the numbers, they disagreed, and they just did some summing of the deltas between them to come up with that number.
Okay, so this is the response to that concern by the Citizens Audit from our State Board of Elections. More votes than registered voters. The statewide registration database reflects our voter information at the moment the data is extracted. The group requested data in October of 2021 and compared it to election results from November of 2020, nearly a year earlier. Any voter that moved would not be accurately represented as voting at the election where they had been registered at the time of the election. A more accurate representation would be to compare the board's 2020 enrollment data against the 2020 election results, which would show an accurate 13.5 million eligible voters and 8.6 million votes cast, which refutes the more votes than registered voters.
Right. So, my question is, we've got 3 people here, is that 3? Any of you guys from Cayuga County? You're from Cayuga County?
there he is.
What's that?
I'm from Cayuga County.
Raise your hand. Do you have any issues with the Cayuga County, like, Board of Elections or any type of information? Because to me personally, I just like to talk about the county. Our
You asking me?
Either one of you. Because you know, this is a broad swipe of the whole entire country, right? So
State,
sorry,
right.
state. And to me, today, we're here for county business. And I would like to just keep our information at county. If you had evidence about a particular polling station in our county, let's keep it there. And maybe those are, but right now it seems as if, you know, we're about to have another election, ain't we? So what are we talking about? I mean, this is, to me, this is a podcast to me, not something that directly at our county. This is something you could do it, write a letter to the editor, you do a lot of things to the state, have a podcast. But right now, we have a lot of stuff to talk about with the county. And I respect that you guys are coming forward with your information. I believe you deeply believe it. But and here, we are talking about county business. And I would like a particular, for examples, not a broad swipe, but you go to this polling station, you said this happened. We could talk about it. You go, I think we have 3 or 4 in the city, and I don't know how many we have out in the county. Go to those county, and I think that would be appropriate to talk on this platform. To me, this is just a total waste of time. And I don't mean to be disrespectful because I know you guys are passionate about it, but it really is. So I think if we could talk about a polling station in this county had an issue, I'd love to hear about it.
I can respond to that. Thank you, Brian. I think an audit of the county would be included with the audit of New York State. So that would be relevant.
And just to respond to that, we're talking about budgeting right now and funds and money. And obviously volunteers that have worked at these polls might feel a little criticism. So if you don't have any, we can audit everything and be broke auditing. But I'm talking about this county. This is something you can, I think in Albany, they'd be welcome to hear it. But in this county, if you had no proof and no idea, we shouldn't be talking about it today, especially when we got a budget and a lot of important topics to talk about before the end of the year. So that's just my thought as a legislator. I don't know what vote you're looking for today. I mean, to me, it's just a total waste of time. It should be done in a different platform.
Yeah, so we audit our books all the time, every year. No one's saying that there's anything wrong with them or not wrong with them, but we audit our books, we audit policies and procedures. It's done all the time. No one's claiming that it's just good practice to make sure you have everything in order. So if there is a vote on this, I'll be voting yes.
That was directed at me, so I want.
No, it's just directed in general.
In general, but you know, the great news is you're the mayor of Sterling. You can start right there in Sterling and go to your people and start auditing.
So I'm the mayor of the village of Fairhaven.
Fairhaven, excuse me. Fairhaven.
I'd love to be the mayor of this.
So why don't you start in Fairhaven? You have all the right. You're a legislator and you could do it. But what I'm telling you is now, you're right. We do audit things and Lynn does a good job. We have a secondary audit. We do audit a lot of things. But we're talking about something we don't even know we have an issue with. But if you want to start right with your hometown, I'm sure you can get that done.
So you're addressing that to me.
Yes, I am.
Specifically. And again, we audit things. We don't audit.
You audit your city?
We don't
Your
audit
town?
Lynn. We don't audit Lynn because we think she did something wrong. It's just good practice to audit your records. Our records get audited. We hire outside accountants to do our auditing of the village. I'm sure many of the municipalities do. And when we get our list of people from the county for our local elections, especially in the village, it's pretty easy to go through and make sure that all those people are registered to vote and still are residents of the county.
Have you had an audit in your village?
Yeah, it's taken care of by the village clerk. I don't know when the last time she did the audit was.
I think you should start there.
If she's asked to do it.
I would start
it'll
there
get
though.
done.
I would start there because that's where that's something you could do and probably can organize that really easily. Why don't you start there? I mean, honestly, if you really believe it, we'll start right there. Think back to your home.
We will.
Okay. I'll be reading about it.
Call the question, either vote yes or no.
Second.
hang on for a second. If I understood Lydia correctly, she said the year is wrong.
That is correct. I thought that we updated everything on the, resolution, should be 2022.
Right, so we would need an amendment because we just have the resolution to introduce introduce this. If the year is wrong, and there should be an amendment to change the year to 2022.
Are you offering the amendment?
I can't, can I?
Any member.
Anybody?
I'll offer the amendment, change it from 2020 to 2022.
What's wrong with doing a friendly amendment like we've done before?
Yeah, we're friendly.
Somebody made a mistake and wrote a 0 instead of a 2.
That can be done. I just want to make sure it's done.
Yep.
At some point.
Friendly amendment?
Friendly amendment will work. then.
Change the date.
Okay. We'll do the amendment, so, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, now we'll go on to the motion. Any further discussion on the motion?
Call the question.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, that's one.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Duly
Vote
noted.
till next
Aye.
meeting. You can't vote till next.
I
meeting.
just having a nervous wreck. I would have raised about that, but I put my hand
Do
up
it
anyway.
Thursday.
Just don't count me.
Don't know on Thursday.
I'll just I'll just keep it all the way up to Thursday, because that's what's gonna happen.
Okay, that's it as far as I'm concerned, so motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
In the past, I don't know.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Special ledge meeting is in, it's 6:30 exactly.
No. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Dave, just so you're aware, Chambers is unmuted.
Does the wife know you, Bob?
She never realized, yeah, just put it with the others. No, she looks at them. Hey, she looks at them. Oh, I got it, thanks.
I'm gonna bring you Snickers. I'm bringing you Snickers. Get off that. Oh, we're gonna.
IT is set up, but they're all there. Good.
Like pneumonia or just? Just a
Hey, no bear. All right.
We missed Brian. Brian? Who else we missed? Aileen, Jim. Hey, can you go out and see if the legislators are out there? Please. See if any legislators are out there, please.
Jim's this way.
Interesting. Thank you.
I didn't even lose the cover. Okay, we're waiting for Jim, everybody, so. In a minute, I'm sure. Just so everybody knows, I'm gonna change the agenda around a little bit. I'm gonna call to order, then roll call, then I'm gonna open the public hearing because we're supposed to stay open 40, 58 minutes, 60 minutes. And this meeting won't last this long, so I want to get the public hearing open as quick as possible.
There he is.
Jimmy, you ready?
Born ready.
Okay. All right, call the meeting to order at 6:35. Roll call, Sheila.
Jim Basil.
Present.
Andy Dennison. Present. Lydia Patty Ruffini. Here. Chris Petrus.
Here.
Aileen McNabb Coleman.
Present.
Bob Shay.
Present.
Hans Petcher.
Here.
Mark Strong.
Here.
Heidi Nightingale.
Present.
Elaine Daly.
Here.
Tricia Kerr.
Here.
Christina Colarco.
Here.
Michael Didio.
Here.
Ryan Muldrow.
Here.
Dave Gould.
Here. Okay, I'm gonna open the public hearing, and it's about the 2024 Cayuga County budget. Anybody like to call in, it's 315-294-8051. Okay, stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence, please. Thank you, everyone. Be seated, please. Okay, I know there's some amendments. Go ahead, Andy, you're first.
Chairman, I'd like to offer an amendment to the budget. You all have it in front of you. Doug passed it out. It's just a simple, I'm just gonna say it, Doug. I'm sorry, I keep saying it to you. It's a Doug screw up. So in other words, we gotta just flip the number, the 33,974 from the A71104 to the A71111. Was in the wrong place.
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second discussion on that. Anybody want to discuss that? Doug is here, if anybody wants to.
I think.
Not all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. Okay, Mark.
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment to the budget. I'd like to decrease the use of the fund balance for the nurse navigator and decrease A 30204540059 for the amount of $186,000.
A motion.
Move it.
Second,
Second.
on discussion. Go ahead, Elaine.
And just to clarify, it's my understanding that the contract that we were pursuing, they have said they cannot serve this county. Is that why we're taking the money out of the budget?
Yes, that is the reason.
That's the way I understood it also. And Denise.
So we don't need to appropriate in the 24 budget that fund because we're not going to enter into that contract based on the vendor saying they couldn't serve us.
Saving $186,000.
Somebody else had their hand, Trish, was it?
I was just curious what that actually is for.
It's the nurse navigator program.
911 budget.
911.
For 911. Is that a service that
We looked into
figure
it
out?
and put it into the, put it in for the possibilities of it, but apparently Denise.
Okay, so it's nothing we have to provide as a county?
Not at this time, no.
Okay.
It was sold that this would potentially assist in reducing the number of calls that didn't really require an ambulance because there'd be a screening by a registered nurse and they had done business in other counties, but Denise didn't change her mind.
Yeah.
They didn't want.
No, it wasn't, they didn't want, they didn't have the personnel to take care of just the county at this time. Right.
Yeah.
So it was nobody's fault. It was the company that just doesn't have the personnel.
So it's like I said, it's a decrease in the fund balance of $186,000.
And we had a motion, we had a second, we had anybody else for the discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Yes, thank you. Bobby.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer an amendment to the 2024 budget to increase the use of the fund balance in the amount of $334,000 for the Cayuga County Public Utility Service Agency established by public referendum under local law 2 in 1984.
Motion.
Second, Mark.
Discussion.
I think we need the account that he's adjusting to. I could provide that.
Yes, would you, Lynn?
It would
please?
be increasing the expenditure line A 10144545505 for COSA. 334,000.
Okay, further discussion. Andy.
So I thought this originally was gonna be possibly out of ARPA. So no, that's not.
Correct. It's now out of the general fund. Further discussion. Go ahead, Trish.
I will just say that I have several questions out to Legislator Shea as Chair of CAPUSA from June of this year and asking the same questions several other times just about basic operations. I'm still waiting for answers on. And so I will be no vote until I have confidence in CAPUSA's operations, that they're complying with their bylaws and the requirements for public meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve.
I just want to say I agree with Trish on that. And I think some of the same issues we were having with CETA, we're seeing with CAPUSA, and until those are ironed out, I feel like it's not my place to change our budget and ask for more money when this is a problem we will create for the next legislature.
Andy.
I'm just gonna add that I will vote yes on this for the main reason that CAPUSA, if done right, be a very helpful thing for this county. And this will piss a few people off, but CAPUSA's never been run right, in my opinion. That's my opinion. People can disagree. There's Lattimore, you will, but CAPUSA, if I'll come back next year at this time to say I was wrong for voting for this, if CAPUSA doesn't get their act together. and show that they do something. So I have no problem with that. I have high hopes for Kapusa. I've had high hopes for Kapusa, but Kapusa has been very, I don't know, deflating for those high hopes. So I'm hoping it changes because it could do a lot for this county to be able to have our own.
Hans?
This is a promise we made to the people of Cayuga County back 20 odd years ago. We put it, the legislature put a proposition on the ballot to create Kapusa, and it was overwhelmingly created. And unfortunately, up to this time, we haven't fulfilled that promise of lower electricity to people, and the ability to attract industry because of the lower energy prices, and it's high time we did.
I'm gonna say a few words about it too. I've talked to many people. We had a meeting 2 weeks ago. I meeting with professionals regarding Kapusa, and John is here, John Montone. Probably nobody in the country knows as much about it as John. John, can you just explain to this body why Cayuga County is unique Kapusa?
Sure. In the state, excuse me, I got a little sore throat. In the state, there's 51 public power municipalities, but they're counties, or excuse me, they're towns and villages and people like that. In New York, Cayuga County is the only one that passed this referendum back in 2005 to become a public power entity. There's many, many other counties that wish they had something like this. And to answer back to Andy's question a little bit, I agree with him, and it hasn't been run right, but that's never been funded right. So the bottom line there is the public referendum vote was overwhelming, and we need to move forward now with all the new initiatives in the climate situation and renewable energy, all those different things. So it's a very important economic development tool to work with too. Once you have low cost power, and believe me, I know what it'll do. Just take a look at Solvay, what they've got over there, and all the other municipalities. County has to be county-wide and lower the public energy initiatives and different energy hubs throughout the county will have. So that's basically what it's going to be all about. The renewable energy, get it done right.
Go ahead, Andy.
And I would just hope that what you just said, John, the entire county, is therein lies some of my issues with, like some of the speakers we've had here about the, solar farms and whatnot, and you can, get a rebate through NICEAG. Well, there's still quite a few of us in the county that aren't NICEAG. I mean, go north and we might wish we were, because we tend to be the butthole of RG&E up there. If the wind blows, our power goes out. But if this truly helps the entire county, that's a good thing, because some of these other things aren't going to truly help the entire county. So
I just like to add that if I remember right, 2005, the referendum was like 94 to 95%. The public approval, if I remember right. Yep. I have trouble yesterday, but
people were having trouble either paying their electric bill or buying groceries back then. And it was important to lower the energy costs to these people. We've had a couple opportunities to do that. We also have a door opening up for us to get power, possibly preference power from the New York Power Authority, to add the incremental stuff we're talking about. So that's very important.
I know a lot of the legislators had questions, and I tried to get this group, the Kapusa group, to answer all those questions. I know some of you weren't maybe happy with those answers or didn't get the answer they wanted, but I think they did as much as I asked them to do as far as getting information to everybody in here, so we'd all have a background and knowledge, and I hope that worked. You can make up your mind whichever way you want to vote naturally, but I hope the information may not all got out there, but a lot of it. Trish?
I just want to, say thank you to John and the board members, because I know that you're all volunteer. And I know that you put a lot of time in over the years, and you believe in the potential. You've seen it in your own Solvay communities that you work in. And I believe in the potential too. I would ask for consideration if there's funding and an extension of funding to Capusa, that there be some reporting line to this body where we have updates on what's going on, and that there's a requirement to post meetings publicly and to provide minutes, because that's not happening right now. And I think it's really important that we provide some level of oversight for these taxpayer dollars that are funding this entity, that have a lot of potential, but.
Well, the funding is going to help us bring a director, an administrator, a secretary. We don't have those things though. So if you sit down with 6 or 7 volunteers, you do the minutes, you do this, it doesn't work out right. And you know that as well as I do.
Oh, that's kind of aggressive.
I could respond, but I won't,
Yeah,
and.
one at a time, guys, one at a time. All right, Elaine.
Just, and I don't even propose to understand all the information that was sent and the responses by Gary Knapp. You know, the ask is for more than just a director and administrative staff. The ask is A to G, all of these proposals that, I mean, are they all achievable in a year?
In a year?
Yeah, I mean, you're asking.
We've been working on it a lot longer than a year without any funding.
But
And a lot of the
expectation is you will be able to achieve A through G
we're hoping, yeah.
in 1 year.
And it's an ongoing business situation with it. Once you're established, you can go after certain things. It even be more than that.
And is it true that you're not even recognized as a public utility until you do legal work and do all of
We
these
are with the
things?
state, not with the Public Service Commission. We don't have to be registered with the Public Service Commission if we become a full requirement customer of the New York Power Authority. But it's our intention to go with the Public Service Commission. That'll establish rates, rules and regulations.
And that's the Public Service Commission that would actually establish the rate, and then you need, I mean.
Well, they don't establish the rate. We provide them what rate we need through the customer service situation. So that's how that gets established. And then they approve it up or down, or to add it to it or take it away.
You gotta remember, this is not like I'm gonna use CETA because we fund them for how many years, but this is a one-time ask for the 2024 budget. They're not going to come back to us, this legislature who's gonna be here next year and ask for another $330,000. It's not. This is to fund them, to get them going, to get a place to have an office, have a staff, and then it's up to Capusa to produce.
Once we create a customer base, if you will, it's gonna provide revenue, not only to Capusa, but to your general fund. And that's the way all public power entities work. And you can use some of the money for anything you want to use it for. But the rest of it is just to establish this business, if you will, and to provide the low cost power to every community. You're gonna have a chance. Capusa is gonna act like an energy service company. Or then when you pay your bill, instead of going to Spain or wherever it's going, it's gonna stay right here in this county, and it's gonna be at a reduced rate.
I think the money that we're talking about, I think you were getting 19,000 or something like that for a few years. That won't establish anything. That doesn't even buy pencils. So this will establish Capusa once and for all in our county. And I've known John for 50 years. I know most of the people I know Almo, and I have faith in them. I have faith that this money is going to produce a savings for everybody in this county in the near future. Lydia?
I just heard that for 20 years, we've let our county people down by not supporting something that they voted for, that they said to us, our predecessors, but to us, we want this, we need this. I think that it's right that we finally at least put some effort toward giving our county people what they ask for. And I know I won't be part of this legislature anymore, but Bob, if you and your team needs anything that I can help you with, I'm happy to volunteer some of my time, no charge, to help out.
Thank you, Lydia. Andy?
So
right.
this, I mean, for those who've never looked into, escrows, they call them. I do, because electricity costs a lot of money, especially on a farm. And I mean, my last one that ran out last year was through some company in Texas, because they gave me the best 3-year rate. And what you're saying is, and it still may be that way, because if your rate sucks and Texas is better, I'm gonna go with Texas, but at least this way, hopefully your Caboose is smart enough to not have rates that suck, so that local businesses and even those of you that, just own a house can go through them. And then, like you said, the money is here instead of my money going to Texas, because, and anybody that wants to be amused, look up ESCOs. I mean, there's little podunk towns in New York State that have ESCOs. And I'm like, I looked them up on a map going, are you kidding me? I mean, this town looks like Cato or Ira. They got their own ESCO. I mean, they weren't that cheap, which is why I ended up in Texas for the last one, but that's my point. There's tons of them in New York. So for Cayuga County to be able to do that, and if you do it smart and the money stays here, because people, I mean, if you're not trying to find a cheaper way to get your energy, oh, God bless you, but because I mean, like I said, I ended up, my last ESCO 3-year deal was an outfit in Texas, because it was 2.5 cents cheaper than any place around that I could find, so.
But not just an ESCO though, Andy, we'll have an opportunity to do microgrids and behind the meters in different parts of the county, those types of things for commercial businesses. It's very important to understand that then there is no distribution charge added to your bill, less than that. If there's ways to do that, we will identify that and do that.
I said, I support this because if done right, it could be very valuable to this county. My issues have been kind of like what you just said, Lydia, and it's not necessarily everyone here, but it was something that kept getting the can kicked down the road, kicked down the road, kicked down the road. So you're gonna do it or you're not. And if you fall flat on your face, then you fall flat on your face, and nobody's ever gonna want to do it with you again. It's that simple. So.
Thanks, Andy. Brian?
I just got a few questions. Based on your bylaws or whatever organization, how you formed your organization, how often do you guys supposed to meet? Like, do you have monthly meetings?
We have been, yes, until COVID hit. But other
Okay,
than
so
that, yes, sometime twice a
Had a
month,
meeting.
sometime twice a month for me.
No, when's the last time? Was it recent?
November,
November?
we have one coming up on the 21st.
And do you guys, so you've met every month this year? Roughly, other than the COVID?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
We have workshops too, so sometime even 3 times a month.
All right, so what's your biggest accomplishment today? Cause I'm learning about this and I'm reading everything. Like, you guys, anything on paper that is tangible that we could talk
But we were
about?
talking about earlier about broadband. I think I caught some of that. We were under the situation where we dealt with a company called New Vision that we brought into the county. They got a grant or funding from the state to do that. And now that's just one accomplishment. It's out there. It's an opportunity for the places that didn't have it. But there's also USDA funding coming soon as they pass this budget that's for the feds I'm talking about. Or Senator Gildebrand is on that committee to bring in rural broadband. That funding is available to this county. Caboose can go after that. That's just part of it. But all those different types of things that we're going after, we have renewable energy companies coming in all the time. We're going to do hydrogen projects. That's put in place, not quite, but it's going to be in the county, rolling wheels in green hydrogen. Those were private developers that did that, and that's going to happen there. We dealt with CSX Railroad to do a big charging station there somewhere near Weedsport. So these are all the things that we've done.
Okay. Just a final note, you know, as legislators, we represent a district and we represent the county. And I wish you were a little more politer to legislator, as you spoke to her. It's kind of dismissive. And she has a right to ask questions, so.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And that's fine. Our
I mean,
public,
she sits out, I sit on many boards, we meet all the time, and we're all volunteers, so there's no excuse. I'm not trying to scold you, but I thought it a little slightly disrespectful.
okay, keep in mind that our meetings are public, just like all the meetings.
Would you say? I didn't hear you. What's public?
All our meetings are public, so all these legislators are invited to come to this meeting. There's only a few here that have ever come to our meetings.
Trish?
Respectfully, John, where would one read about where your meetings are being held and when?
Well,
Are they advertised? Especially the more than one time a month meetings, the big workshops?
Yep.
Be publicly advertised so that the public, not just us legislators, can attend.
Mhm.
When we're talking about the county's energy future, that's very exciting. The public should be involved. The public should know what's going on. None of that has happened.
It has happened in the past when we had Department of Planning staff helping us, taking our minutes and posting those things. And that just stopped. And now we have no one doing that, like I said earlier. So the bottom line is, yes, we can post it, just like you, I guess, like you do with this kind of meeting.
Supposed to post it.
Yeah, I understand that. I know. I worked in government. I know. But keep in mind that there's ways to do that, and you know, that's basically all I could say about it. I agree with you. We haven't done it all the time. And I know that we're supposed to do annual reports. We're going to be doing those types of things. So.
Just would like to say that, I mean, we can all sit here and debate, you know, what has happened in the past in many subjects. But I would like to see us move forward. I see the possibilities that the future could possibly bring to this county. And that's where I'm at. I'm looking at, you know, the future of the county. You know, there's been mistakes made in the past, but the past is the past. We can't forget history. You know, it should be there to remind us to make sure that we're doing the things right for the future. And I just see the possibilities. I'm one of the ones that have been to some of these meetings. And, you know, the future looks bright for this county as far as renewable energy. We just got to give it a chance. So I'm asking everybody here today to, you know, let's not forget the past, but let's look for the future. And the future is renewable energy. We all know it. And here's a chance for Cayuga County to put their mark on the map. And that's what I'm gonna vote. I will vote yes for this. And the reason I'm voting yes is because I want to see the county put their mark on the map.
Haley?
I just want to correct some information. So I know, I believe it was 2016, we did give Capusa amount of money to set a strategic plan, and it was either $60,000 or $80,000. And we went through that process to set a strategic plan, and then nothing was done with it. So just to let you know that that had been established at one time. That we have tried to invest in them. Secondly, I think that many of the remaining legislators will be requiring this organization to provide a monthly report at our meetings. So I hope that they're prepared to come in with everything that they're accomplishing with this public money. This is taxpayer money that we're giving. This is not a small amount of money. And they're prepared to defend their use of this money.
Bob, are you prepared to do that, you and your committee?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Jim?
So on that note, and again, some of us won't be here, but I'm with Andy on this too, is I think that we, you know, they have a chance to prove themselves. We dump money into CETA for I don't know how long. And it was every question asked was talk to our attorney or this, that. We're finally getting some information. I'd like to see this, and I will be voting yes on this to give this an opportunity. And if they fall flat in their face, fall flat in their face. it's something that has been ongoing before we were legislators here. And I think they really need to be given a shot in the arm to give it a go. I'd sure like an opportunity at cheaper electric bills.
And this is the time for questions. The caboose has been around for a lot of years, and this is the vote tonight for 334,000. So please ask any questions you want, Lydia.
On
Heidi.
line item K, under non-specific general program activities, there's a cost of $179,000. It's the largest cost in the whole budget, but it's referred to as non-specific. When you go to K, it then refers you to AD. Refers you to look at. I think it. Other project number, which all have zeros across the board.
Oh, okay.
Detail, but zeros across the board. Can you explain how that 179 then fell into this category of non-specific?
Yes, the two other items where you see zero under the budget part, those are all legal. Going to be legal work for our attorney in Washington, the Public Service Commission, and all those different things. And to establish the rules and regulations. I think it's got the other, if I remember right, the facility corporate, or the facilities, and also in their the salaries of the director.
Right.
Yeah, so those are all in there, including the legal. And that takes care of what you see in those other two where it says zero.
Okay, further questions? Anybody? Time. Okay, I want to show of hands and, not a show of hands, we're gonna do a roll call. All in favor? Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Y'all set, Amanda?
Yep, all set.
Jim Basile?
This is for the amendment, for the motion. For giving the money to Caboose.
Jim Basile?
Yes.
Andy Dennison?
Yes, with a hope that it works.
Lydia Patty Ruffini?
Yes.
Chris Peters?
Yes.
Elaine McNabb Coleman?
Yeah.
Bob Shay?
Yes.
Hans Petcher?
Yes.
Mark Strong?
Yes.
Heidi Nightingale?
No.
Elaine Daly?
No.
Tricia Kerr?
No, with a hope that it works and that Capusa starts being more transparent.
Tina Clarko?
No.
Michael Didio?
Yes.
Brian Muldrow?
No, only because of, I'm bringing up the speed. I think it's a great idea. And I don't like the dismissiveness of the questions being asked, and I know it's probably gonna pass anyway. So this is not great.
David Gould?
Yes, because I have faith in the people that are on that board and the job that they're gonna do.
Amanda, what do you have?
Passed.
Okay. Thank you.
Can't even say it's party line. I know.
We got a little bit of time to kill for this public hearing. So are there any more amendments to the budget? Just so everybody knows, the budget will be Thursday and there'll be a resolution pass or not to pass the budget on Thursday. So anything else as far as amendments? If not, I'm gonna look one more time. Anybody that'd like to talk about the 2024 Cayuga County budget? The number is 315-294-8051. And we'll give them a few minutes and then we'll go into executive session. Sorry, this is kind of a time frame for the public hearing. So you guys discuss, go ahead, talk, do whatever you like. Don't have to stay quiet, but we got to stay in here.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going.
I'll make it sure it's working.
I'm gonna go out there and call in. Check. It looked like there's some participation.
Put 'em on hold.
Yeah, what do you think? The rubber?
That too?
Yeah, that's gotta be. Right where the stock ends. That's how short the stock is.
What'd you say, 24 inches?
26 inches is a whole gun.
We call it embassy.
Whole
The
thing.
stock's gotta be like,
Yeah.
no, maybe.
Too good.
Inches?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Anything over
The barrel?
Barrel's just under 60.
This is that, right?
Overall length.
Oh, no.
No. Yeah.
I don't need help.
You're on my note.
Really?
Double off buckshot.
You better.
No, I mean.
Yeah.
I just put it, it's just a gun. She hates them all. It doesn't matter if it's a babe.
now.
Everybody, please take your seats. I'm gonna close this public hearing so we can.
West end of.
That's fun.
Hey, everybody. All right, can I have a motion? I gotta read this. This is the legal way to do it. Can I have a motion to go to executive session? Then I'll read what it's for. Motion?
Gonna close public hearing first.
Yeah, after this. Yep.
Move it.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, before I do that, I'm gonna close the public hearing at exactly 7:08. Okay? Got that? Okay, all in favor of going to executive session? Anybody opposed?
Why wouldn't I be?
Yeah, I gotta read the reading, yep.
Why wouldn't I?
For medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. Okay, thanks. The department heads, if you guys don't, you don't have to stay for this, if you don't want.
Yes.
I was opposed.
So Oh, God. Yeah, Thursday. Jeez, holy moly.
Sorry, guys, did I miss the adjournment? Can we just do it while YouTube is on?
Motion to adjourn?
She wants to do it again.
All right, motion to adjourn. She didn't,
Move it, Basile.
Second, Lydia.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Did you get that, Amanda?
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Well,